All right, shalom, shalom. All right, before I get started, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushai, Bashem, Rakah, Kodash. All right, double honors to our apostles, Elsgray, Millstone, and Shalom, Wakasah, Allah, Habakyar, which is peace and mercy to the elect throughout the four corners, wherever you may be. I'm the brother Amar from the branch of GMS Cleveland. Come back at you with another video, Lord willing to be edifying to whomever may be watching. And a lot of brothers are familiar with this chapter, but the whole point of the scriptures is a constant reminder, and we have to constantly go over these things, no matter how many times we read them, no matter how many times we do lessons on them, or no matter how many times we even hear these scriptures being pulled. It's like I said, these scriptures are here as a reminder. So sometimes you might go through something, and you might have to refresh or bring back to memory, by reading a particular scripture. And this is something that came to mind about brothers that got wives. All right. And, oh, yeah. It's lucky. If you have a wife, man, all right, you have to understand and know that your woman, the woman that you deal with, I don't give a damn how long you've been with her, she's still susceptible to the flesh, like as you, and she's still susceptible to these spirits out here, all right, and doing the unthinkable, all right. And a lot of things that the brothers that have wives, they that they don't want to come to pass, righteously so, is what your woman stepping out on you, committing adultery, all right. But as the scriptures say, which I'll get it later on, marvel not if she transgress against thee. Matter of fact, I'll get it now. Let's see. Apocrypha. Sirach 26:11. It says, it says, watch over an impudent eye. It says, and marvel not if she transpass against thee. Right? So you can't be in awe if you the woman that you deal with, you laying down with, if she commits adultery on you. Now, I'm not saying that. I say all that to say that don't mean you accept the shit. You know what I'm saying? If you find out your woman committed adultery, that don't mean you just accept her back. You know what I mean? And that's too. That's up to every man's discretion. But nonetheless, man, it is the thing where the scripture say, marvel not if she transgress against thee, man. So if she do things that are that are completely against Yahweh Shem Shah in his scriptures and his law, statutes, commandments, and she does unthinkable. Hey, look, you ain't supposed to be wooed off that. All right, the scriptures are here for a reason. Scriptures say the things are written aforetime or written for our learning. All right, we have to learn from our previous incarnations, or our forefathers, so you can understand. All right, all the things that take place in this day and age, they took place, you know what I'm saying, in our past lives, and just in times in general, past times in general, man. You ain't the only one that has a wife and your woman stepped out on you. All right, you just got to know how to deal with the situation, or like Paul said, which I'm going to get it, don't deal with women at all. Try let's just talk about being eunuchs. All right. But I'm gonna keep reading this real quick. This is Sirach 26:12. It says, she will open her mouth as a thirsty traveler when he have found a fountain, and drink of every water. It says near her, it says near her, it says by every hedge. It says, will she sit down and open her quiver against every arrow? Right. And this is the thing, man. This is talking about a woman that every dude that she see, pretty much she opens her legs, and she's really to suck and f every man that she see. All right, and this is a curse, man. All right, for our women to behave like this, the scriptures say that as well in Amos 7:17. It says, thy wife shall be a harlot in the streets. Our women have a Jezebel spirit on them. They have a very promiscuous, adulterous spirit, and there's nothing that we can do about it. No matter the precautions that you take, and no matter the stipulations and the restrictions you put on her. In this day and age, they have so much freedom that you can't be around her 24/7. And that's why men in the ancient world, they had things called a chastity belt. When you look up a chastity belt, it was basically an ancient a piece of equipment that was placed upon a woman's vaginal area, her vagina, right? And it was like usually placed with a key and lock, to where even if a man had access to her, he couldn't penetrate her. He couldn't get, through her. He couldn't get through the chastity belt. All right, and you see why? Because these women are fucking whores, man. All of them. All right. I'm gonna start. Let me get this, man. It's 1 Corinthians 7 and 1. Like I said, I know a lot of brothers are familiar with this chapter. But once again, we have to go back through these, for the newcomers and for our own sakes, just as a reminder. No, none of us are above the scriptures. None of us are above prophecy. It says, now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman, right? It says, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. It says, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband. So you fulfill your wifely duties, and your husband duties, and your wifely duties, man. All right, y'all, have sex, intercourse. You take care of one another, provide for one another, you love one another. Those are the things concerning the due benevolence. But it says, the wife have not power, verse 4, the wife have not power of her own body, but the husband, and likewise also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife. I'm gonna jump down and see. That says, jump down to verse 7. I start from verse 6. It says, but I speak this by permission and not of commandment. It says, for I would that all men were even as I myself, right? Because Paul, he didn't have a wife, all right? The Lord had him, focus on the mission at hand, all right? Which is what? To preach the gospel, preach the good news unto Israel, all right? And to wake up the Lord's chosen elect, man, all right? So, it says, for I would that all men were even as I myself. It says, but every man have his own proper gift of Yahweh. It says, one after this manner and another after that. And these gifts can vary. All right, some brothers have a gift where they have, they're more stoic. All right, and they don't necessarily need a woman, a wife, so you can understand. Because regardless, brother's gonna get some box. All right, you just might not have a situation or a wife. Y'all might not be an item, so you can understand. You might have a woman that you go and get some box from, or you might deal with harlots. You might literally pay a woman, to pop her. You know what I'm saying? And she going about her business, and that's scripture as well. Some of the men of the Lord, you know what I'm saying, done that, and it's actually in the scriptures. All right, so that's not going off, man. If you do that, and like I said, I'm gonna keep reading. It says, I say therefore to the unmarried and widows, it's good for them if they abide even as I. Right? You know what I'm saying? If you're a widow, which is a woman that have lost her husband, all right, and you unmarried, obviously you're not having sex, all right. So Paul was saying, like, it's best just to be as I am. It says, but if they cannot contain, let them marry, and for it is better to marry than to burn. And we understand that if you do, if you are burning, meaning you're lusting, to lusting righteously to have, have a woman, have sex with a woman, um that does not have a husband, that's not married. It's better to just get a wife than to be walking up down the streets horny. All right. It says, and unto the married I command. It says, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband. See, and this is the thing. You have a society where women can easily divorce a man, a husband that they've been with for X amount of years, and they can pretty much win. They can get half of that man's earnings, all right, or sometimes in some cases take all of his shit, the house, the cars, the pensions, the checks, all that, man, even the children, and that just leaves the man in complete disarray and destitute. You know what I'm saying? This is a wicked society that we live in, man. So it says verse 11, but if she depart, let her remain unmarried. So when a woman leaves the husband, she try to get married to another man, she's supposed to remain unmarried. But in this society, they grant these women all type of incentives to be a demon, to completely disobey Yahweh Shemel Shah's will. It says, or be reconciled to her husband, and let not the husband put away his wife. Which we know the majority of times men don't just leave women. That's usually a very rare scenario, a situation that happens where men just straight up leave women. Um, I'm gonna jump down just for the sake of time, and if you haven't read this chapter, you definitely want to read it. The whole thing is good. So it says, I get to the point. 1 Corinthians 7:26, 7:27. It says, "Art thou bound unto a wife?" It says, it's posing the question: "Seek not to be loose. Art thou loose from a wife? Seek not." It says, "Seek not a wife." So if you in either one of them situations, if you have a wife, don't try to leave her. Try your best to stick it out. But if you don't have a wife, don't try to go find one. And like I said, it's easier said than done, because like I said, when you a brother that don't have a wife, sometimes you have moments and where you desire a wife. You know what I'm saying? You just want to lay up under her. Y'all know, your brothers know. You know what I'm saying? You want that presence of ruling over a woman in righteousness, and getting things in order, so forth and so on. But on this side, man, 2025, is best that you just stay clear of them. These women are batshit crazy, and they don't, for the most part, they don't have nothing going for themselves, and they don't see the value in real men. So why even put yourself through that headache, man? It says verse 28, and like I said, I'm speaking like that, you know what I'm saying? Because shit, sometimes I battle it, man. I try to stay clear of these women, but Jake, at the end of the day, Jake gonna be Jake, and you still want to deal, you still want, you want some box. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you don't always got the money to pay for the shit, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it says, and if thou marry, thou hast not sinned. And it says, and if a virgin marry, she have not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. So once again, man, these are scriptures that brothers are familiar with. But like I said, it's just a reminder. If you do have a wife or woman that you deal with, you gonna have trouble with her, man. And the trouble in the flesh mainly comes from her end, because she she's unruly. All right. For the most part, the women are the main corporate. All right, and these relationships, they cause a lot of this drama and all this shit, man. All right, because one, they're out of order. All right. It says verse 29, but this I say, brethren, the time is short. It remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none. So if you got a wife, it's supposed to be as though you had none, man. Because it's best to have that mentality. If you got a physical woman, look, man, it's best, and like, that you treat the situation as if you don't even have her. You know what I'm saying? Because she can walk out on your ass at any given moment. Brothers have experienced it or will experience it, man. It says, and they that weep as though they weep not, and they that rejoice as though they rejoice not, and they that buy as though they possess not. Um, that was pretty much the point, man. I'm gonna get one more. Um, let me see. First Peter 5 and 8, because these things aren't, you, like I said, you're not the only one that has a wife and you go through these things, and your woman's being a demon and she's trying to leave you. It happened and has happened and will happen to a lot of brothers if you haven't already gone through it. So this is 1 Corinthians 5 and 8. It says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And the spiritual demon Satan can have it to where he devours you, or he tries to devour you in many different circumstances in many different areas of your life, and a lot of times it's through women. All right. It says, whom is steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. These same things that you go through, that your brethren, the brothers that are in the faith, they go through it as well, or have gone through it. So it's just something to keep in mind, man. You're not the only one. And like I said, that reminds me of a video I did about a month or two back. You're not the only one, man. All right. If you in this truth and you believe wholeheartedly on the Lord, shit like this is gonna happen to you, man. you just got to keep it pushing, man. Hey, so with that, I'm saying shalom.